If it looks like we were scared to death, just a couple of kids just trying to save each other. Should have seen it in color. A picture's worth 1,000 words, but you can't see what those shades of gray keep covered. You should have seen it in color. Once again, it's on. Back at you one more again. Real Ken's TV in the house like kitchen sinks. Hopefully you liked the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share, subscribe to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, and hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action, this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive it. Now, with no further ado, let's get into this afternoon's video, if you will. You know, you all that follow me and watch me, you notice that my intro was a little bit different today. I made a video the other evening talking about, you know, one of the times I was incarcerated, and it happened to be one of the easier times. You know, it's never easy doing time, but that was the easiest time that I ever spent incarcerated. So I told a story about how, you know, at a particular point I was the only black guy there. I was up in, you know, eastern part of Kentucky, and they love country music down there. So it got to the point to where they play so much country music, it just pop up in my head from time to time, man. You know what I mean? So I thought that would be quite entertaining. You know, I don't proclaim to be a singer or anything, but you know, country songs, man, they real catchy, man. So at this point, I like country music. Don't judge me. I like country music. I like rap. I like R&B. Rap, I like old school rap though. A lot of this new stuff, you know, I like some of it. But nevertheless, there was a reason for my intro being the way that it was. It's the day after. My Cowboys lost, got stomped out by the 49ers. I got to own it. You know, I celebrate when we win, so I got to, you know, I can't be quiet and just disappear when we lose, man. It was, just wasn't a very good performance. 49ers are clearly head and shoulders above, I believe, pretty much everybody in the NFL. You know, yeah, Philly's pretty good. Of course, Kansas City. But 49ers, man, they just, I don't know if they'll lose a game. Very, very, very impressive. So, hat goes off to the 49er fans. You know, it's a whole lot of Dallas hate going on. I don't even know if you want to call it hate at this point. You know, perhaps they're just telling the truth. I don't know. But I'm riding with Dallas till the wheels fall off. I've been riding, so ain't no sense in jumping off now. You know, I have a lot of people, you know, I read my comments, and as you all know, I respond to my comments. And so sometimes I'll make a video about jail, you know, how terrible it is. And one of the main comments that I get from people is, if jail is so terrible, why do people continuously go back? You know, 2, 3, 4 times, sometimes or more. It's a very interesting question. Um, and it's a fair question. Because one would wonder, like, if it's so bad, why put yourself in a situation to where you're going back? You know, the food is terrible. The officers treat you so bad. You can't see your family. You're far away from home. Commissaries hide. You see what I'm saying? It's violent. It's all type of just disgusting things that are going on. Why would one continue to go back? So I thought about that, and it's something that I've been pondering on, if you will, for the last couple days. You know, because there's a difference between an excuse and a reason, in my eyes. Two totally different things. Now, what you have to understand is this: when you live in life as a felon, it's totally, first of all, let me put this out here before I even say that. Life is hard for most people. So I'm not gonna sit here and make an excuse and say, oh, guys have felonies or whatever. Life is hard, period. Some people have to deal with financial issues. Some people have to deal with health issues, marital issues, just family issues. Sometimes all of the above. So life can be quite difficult for everyone. But at the same time, all of those things that I just mentioned, and you take the fact, okay, now I'm a felon. Now I'm a felon to go on top of every other issue that I may be going through in life. There are times to where it gets overwhelming. I would imagine for a lot of people. You know, when you say convicted felon, back in the old days, that was just like scum of the earth. That was just the worst thing you could be. Oh, he's a convicted felon. Like it's just, like just the worst, most despicable thing that there is. And that's just simply not true. It's simply not true. You meet so many good people, while incarcerated. Are there some that need to be in there? Definitely. There's some that'll tell you they know they need to be in there because they don't trust themselves being out here in the the free world and actually in society. But I mean, a lot of good dudes in there just made mistakes, or perhaps they were addicted to drugs. So you know how that goes when you're addicted to drugs, man. There's no telling what you'll do, what type of mistakes you'll make, when you're not sober. But there's so much that goes with being a convicted felon. For one, once you're released from prison, typically you're released on some form of probation or parole, especially here in Kentucky. They have a thing called MRS. It's a mandatory release. So you can't just serve your sentence out. Most people can't. Some people don't qualify for mandatory release, like if you have like a violent charge. But 9 times out of 10, they kick you out of prison with about 7, 8, maybe 10 months left. Even if you don't want to go. Even if you say, listen, man, I don't want to do my last year on the streets or my last 8 or 9 months on the streets because I'm going to smoke weed. I'm not trying to go see a report to a parole officer. I'm going to do what I want to do as far as drinking. And, people feel that way. I'd rather just serve my time out while I'm here. That way I don't have to deal with it. But guess what? They still going to kick you out the door. Literally kick you out of the door. And you're going to serve the remainder of your time on the streets. So that's one thing. People come home and they just feel like they want to do what they want to do. That's one of the reasons that people come back. But I would say that a lot of people actually, when they come out, they try. They actually try. You're sitting in while you're incarcerated. You got your pen and your pad. You're constantly putting together a plan of action for when you get out. Okay, I'm going to get home. Within 90 days, I'm going to get my driver's license. Within, X amount of time, I'm going to have a job. Then I want to have this amount of money saved up. Then I want to move out on my own. Then I want to, you put all of those things into play. The problem is life hits you once you actually come home. Because a lot of the things that, we plan for, yeah, they can happen and will happen if you continue to strive and just work hard and be patient. But typically they're not going to happen at the rate that we want them to happen at. So the frustration sets in. And then you get to paying attention to everyone else instead of having that tunnel vision just focused on yourself, knowing that you'll eventually get there with hard work and just doing the right thing. You start to see, man, this person got on them new J's. You remember back when you used to wear the Jordans. But you working a regular job now, $11, $12, $13 an hour. You can't afford $500 pair of tennis shoes. You see what I'm saying? Then you seeing that, he has on, this particular hoodie or these particular jeans or this type of watch, or he's driving this car with the big rims on him, and he's jumping on Instagram and Facebook and, all the social media platforms, and he's shining. He's looking good. People's, they flashing money. So now you're seeing all of these things, and it's like, man, here I am sitting over here flipping these burgers or washing these dishes or working on this line at this factory for pennies, for crumbs. While these people out here, they balling, they living it up. All the ladies, they not really looking at me, they looking at them. because they want to go to the dudes that got the money. So now you already positioning yourself to go back just by allowing your mind to think like that. When those thoughts enter your mind, and you have to figure out a way to rebuke those thoughts. Because if not, you're gonna continuously watch those people. And now it's like, you know what? I'm not going to work today. I'm gonna call in today. You know, I've been going to work for 2 months straight. I ain't called in not one time. So you feel like you're rewarding yourself. Well, I'm not going to work today. The next thing you know, you hanging with some of the people that you hadn't been hanging with since you've been home. Now you hang with them a little bit. Next thing you know, further on down the line, you done jump back in the game. But you're not doing it much. You just jumped in to make extra, you know, $200 or $300 a week on top. If I can make extra $200 or $300 a week, then, you know, I work my job, I can get by. You know, I want to be able to provide for my kids. I want to be able to get a car. I want to be able to do, and I can't do all these things on $12, $13 an hour. Fast forward, now you all the way back in the game. Started off as just $200, $300 a week. Then it went to $400 or $500 a week. Now it's $1,000 a week. So I'm all the way back in it. Forget this job. I'm in it now. You're all the way back in it. Doing the same exact things that landed you in prison. That's why they tell you in prison, man, people, places, and things, you must change those. And you must adhere and stick with that. Because, you know, if you're in the barbershop long enough, guess what? You don't get a haircut. So you're around people that's not doing positive things in life, you'll end up being just like them. That's why they say it, iron sharpens iron. You want to hang around people that are doing, you know, making moves in life, you know, being out for their family, you know, they have good credit or working on their credit, working on a business plan, you know, trying to get a trade or a skill or go to school, something. You want to be around something that's positive. So next thing you know, you out, you right back in it, then boom, you catch another case on parole, even if you're not on parole, and you right back in the system. So it's not that people want to go back. It's not like people's just sitting out here saying, you know what, let me go commit this crime. I feel like going to prison today. Not just, I believe it's impatience. Yeah, you deal with a lot, but it's not an excuse. I'm a felon. So you deal with a lot being a felon. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie. And does it get difficult? Man, it gets really, really difficult. Because there's a lot of jobs that's just not gonna hire you. There's a lot of jobs that people will be great at, you know, because you have a felony. Well, it's company's policy, and unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hire you at this time. But good luck, you know. That's just what it is. You can only live in certain places. You go and you try to get you a decent apartment. First of all, it's going to be hard to get a decent apartment making $12, $13 out. I don't know where you all at. I know where some of you all at, but I know in Kentucky, like minimum of $1,000 a month for a decent apartment, and that's probably gonna be a 1-bedroom where I'm at anyway. So it's hard to get a decent place, even if you have the money, because these corporations, they're not gonna rent to you. As soon as they do the background check, it's over. So now you can't get a decent job, you can't get a decent place to live. So you got to try to go. You have to go try to find you a private owner that doesn't really care about, you know, your credit, doesn't really care about your criminal history. Well, you find a private owner. Well, guess what? You rent a house. If an apartment is $1,000 a month, you can already imagine what a house is going to be. Sometimes you'll be able to find a private owner that owns, you know, apartment complexes, but typically you're going to have to get a house or a duplex. So, you know, you're dealing with that. You're dealing with all these different things that you're not allowed to do. You know, sometimes people break the law and they don't even really realize that they're breaking the law. That's why I said you shouldn't just judge people just simply because they have a felony. I know one person, you know, I know him. We're not, you know, we're cool. We don't hang around or anything, but he was flipping cars. buying old cars, fixing them up, putting them back, and then selling them for a profit. He ended up catching a case for that. Flipping cars in the Commonwealth of Kentucky without a dealership license is a felony. He had no clue. He had no clue that he was breaking the law. Now, he didn't have a criminal record, so they ended up, amending it down to a misdemeanor. But nevertheless, he was still arrested. He still had to hire an attorney. Attorneys aren't cheap, even for a misdemeanor. Well, initially it was a felony, but, even for a misdemeanor, you're going to pay a couple $1,000s for an attorney. He was placed on probation, has to do drug testing. So if he messes up, then he's going to have to go serve, I think, 6 months in the county jail. So there's a lot of things that people are not fully aware of as far as how they caught their cases. Now, I'm not saying that, have empathy for a person just went out here and just shooting people and robbing people and just heinous acts and violence and things of that nature. No, I'm not saying that. The other night I told a story about actually I put it on my short video. Buddy sitting in his driveway, minding his own business, listening to music. Does it quite often. He's drinking, has the keys in the ignition, no intentions on going anywhere. He's just sitting out in the car. He doesn't want to wake everybody up in the house, so he sits in the car often, listens to the games, and same way I sit in my vehicle a lot when I'm doing my videos. Somehow the police show up. And it's a nice neighborhood he lives in, a nice neighborhood. He say he's cool with all his neighbors, so he doesn't understand even why the police were there in the first place. They come to his window, they're talking to him, they ask him to step out of the car. He's like, why do I have to step out of the car? I'm in my own driveway, I'm in my own house. What did I do wrong? They insist that he steps out of the car. So it was two, officers or whatever. So he's thinking, well, I haven't done anything. I'm, they don't immediately arrest him. They ask him, had he been drinking? He's like, yeah, I'm sitting out here, I'm drinking. So they ask him to do a field sobriety test. He was like, for what? What do I have to do a sobriety test in my own driveway? I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not committing any crimes. I'm not breaking any laws. Well, the officer informs him you are committing a crime. You are breaking laws because your keys are in the ignition. And being that your keys are in the ignition, if you fail this field sobriety test or whatever, if you refuse to take this field sobriety test, rather, I can place you under arrest for DUI. So he's arguing back and forth with the officer. He ends up refusing to take the test. Put your hands behind your back. Arrested. DUI. Wasn't going anywhere. The car wasn't even started. Just had the keys in the ignition, listening to the radio. Goes to jail, $3,000 bond, $2,500 for a lawyer. See what I'm saying? See how easy it is? Just that simple. Now, some people may know that law, but the only reason they would know that law is because they've probably gone through it. They've probably dealt with something like that. But if you've never dealt with anything like that, who's sitting around thinking that it's illegal to sit in your own car and listening to music? It's not loud, you're not disturbing anybody, but somebody called the police on them. Unless they just happen to, just miraculously just be riding by and seen him and wondering what this guy's doing sitting in the vehicle. I don't know. He doesn't know. So you got to just understand that you shouldn't just judge people based upon their criminal record. So any of you all that own businesses and you're at that level to where you're actually able to hire people, employ people, and you see if they have a criminal record, sometimes you have to look past that. People change their lives. People change, man. But being a felon, you're always going to be a felon, man. Unless you're able to get your record expunged at some point, which hopefully I'll be able to do so some years to come. But unless you do something, of that nature, you're always going to be a felon. You walking around with your kids, you all at the store, you all at the church, you're at the grocery store, you're at the mall, you're at just anywhere. And you see guys walking around with these big guns on their hips. Just think if they just decide to just lose it one day, just start shooting, mass shooting. You there with your kids. You can't protect them. Why? Because, 15 years ago, you committed a crime and it was a felony. So now you're never going to be in a position to where, you can legally have a weapon. So you seeing all these individuals. You got people flipping you off in traffic. You got people cussing you out in traffic, road rage, all type of things that happen that you can't necessarily control. You can control how you react to it. But sometimes things just happen. I've had some things happen to me, man, while I was minding my own business and it came my way. You know that they have a gun because you see it. Or if you don't see it, you just assume that they do because most people carry these days. That's just what it is. Even people that's not supposed to have guns, most people have guns. So you just walking around trying to be a good guy, you trying to stay out of prison. Guess what? My felony stops me from having a weapon. I don't care what the amendment says. I don't care what. Go to court and tell the judge that and see what happens. Tell the jury that when you get caught if you're a felon. So I've just given you all, a couple examples of how life truly is as a felon. If you know someone that has a business and that'll hire you, that's helpful. But who knows people like that? The average person doesn't know a person like that, So typically you end up being somebody's dishwasher, flipping somebody's burgers or fries, working at somebody's factory on a line, a very strict point system. So if you're late so many times, or if you miss work, or if you're fired, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's just so many things that you can't do as a felon. Working, construction. And nothing's wrong with any of these jobs. Don't get me wrong. Nothing's wrong with these things. So I'm not downing them and I'm not knocking them. But I'm just simply letting you all know that as a felon, your options are very, very limited. And sometimes people just say, you know what, man, the hell with this, man. The hell with living like this. I'm going for mine. I'm going to get my money. And if I go back, I just go back. That's not the best way to think. Because I'd rather be out here any day than be locked up. You'll be broke when you locked up. Depending on people to send you money. He wants to be locked up, man. So I'd rather sit out here, make my little $12, $13 an hour if that's what I make. I'll go get me another job. I work 2 jobs. You see what I'm saying? Now, it does put you in a position to where it I don't necessarily want to say it forces you to start your own business, but it gives you the mindset of, well, heck, if I can't do it for anybody else, work with him, I'm going to do it myself. Everybody's good at something. I'm going to do it myself. Start your own business. Just do it on the side. In the beginning, you don't have to have a lot of money. Start your YouTube channel. I have a partner right now, and I talk to him all the time, man. He just doesn't want to do anything. He's real funny. He writes all these skits. I'll wait till I get a better phone. Well, you don't have to get a better phone. You can use the phone you own now. I use my phone. I got some pretty nice Sony cameras, and I haven't even used those yet. I will eventually, once I start editing and things of that nature, but the excuses just have to be wiped away. That's the point that I'm making. We all got problems. We all have issues in life. We're all dealing with something, but the excuses will hold you back and hold you down. If you want something, felon or no felon, you just got to go out there and get it. So hopefully I've answered your question as far as, how and why people continue to go back. People don't like living out there struggling, man. Nobody wants to struggle. Especially if you was that guy in your mind anyway, or even if you was just that guy, period. And now you're out here and it's just like, yeah, I got a job, but, I got 4 or 5 kids. They're always needing something, understandably. I got bills of my own to pay. Guess what? It's $400 a week and it's not getting it. I got child support. It's $400 that I'm bringing home a week is not getting it. So I'm going to jump in the game. I'm going to go do this for a little bit just to make, like I stated earlier in the video, $300 or $400 extra on top of my money from my job. But that $300 or $400 turns into $500 or $600. Next thing you know, $700 or $800. Now you all the way back in it. Now you all the way, you know, the $500 Jordans, the $1,200 sunglasses, $300 shirt, $400 pair of jeans. All that stuff is you know, materialistic things anyway. Take that same money, man, invest in your credit, get your credit together, start you a business. Clothes is cool to, you know, I rock my polo, I got my Jordans and all that stuff, but it's not top priority to me anymore. You know what I mean? Y'all see what I wear most of the time. Most of the time I got my work clothes on because that's what I continuously stay doing. But this particular day, I'm just basking in the backyard, just thinking about my Cowboys. A little upset, you know what I mean? But hopefully they'll get it together. Get them excuses out your life, man. If a felon can do it, you out here and you don't have a criminal record, there's really no excuse for you. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for anybody. But if you out here and you don't have a criminal record, and you have a driver's license and a car, there's all type of stuff. You can go DoorDash, you can go Uber, in addition to working your job. Take that money that you making from DoorDash and Uber, put it up. At least put half of it up. You know, I know a buddy. I have another buddy of mine, and I don't want to call him out and put him out there like that. But I've told him he's married. They have a bunch of kids, 5 or 6 kids. Every month they short on their bills. I'm like, bro, there's no reason for you all to be short on your bills. You all both work, and you all like Uber or something like that. It's one of them that they do. Grubhub, one of them. You all should have plenty of money from that. Oh, I'm tired when I get off work, and then she's tired. Dude, you're 25 years old, man. You're 25 years old. Ain't like you just worked a 14, 15-hour shift. You got to get out there and you got to grind, man. You got to get it if you want it. You keep asking people to give you money, nobody's gonna keep feeling sorry for you every month that you're short. Then they're seeing that you have an opportunity. I know that you have an opportunity. Been dashing over 4 years. Easily can make $100 a day DoorDash. But if you sitting around broke with a driver's license and a car, it's because you want to be broke, man. And you're not even a felon. Get it together, man. Not judgmental. I'm just trying to motivate you. It's just a motivational video. That's all. Not judging anybody, not talking down on anybody. Because I understand we all get in ruts, but you know, you got to quickly remove yourself from that rut somehow, some way. Real Kens TV, man. Hopefully you like the video, the intro. Feel free to comment, definitely share, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and hit that post notification. Anytime I bring you this action, this heat, you're amongst the first to receive it. I'm gonna get back to my country, man, because I've been thinking about a couple different country songs. I might bring you out my rendition of Sugarland on one of my upcoming videos. I think that's what I'll do. My rendition of Sugarland. Have a pleasant day.